Welcome back to 6th grade orchestra. Hopefully you've already been practicing tuning at home like I've asked you to, but if you haven't and you've just been relying on me to tune your instruments whenever you see me, that might start to be problematic as you don't get to see me in person on a regular basis. So today we are going to talk about tuning our instruments again. For some of you this might be review, but if you've been avoiding tuning your instruments, it's best to stop avoiding that now and learn how to tune your own instruments. Before we figure out how to tune our instruments, we have to remember flat and sharp. So if I want it to be in tune, flat means that the pitch is too low. Sharp means that my pitch is too high. So whichever one it is, I have to make it the opposite. So if my pitch is too low, it's flat, I have to make it higher. If my pitch is too sharp, I have to make it lower. Now, depending on your instrument, we're going to do that in different ways. However, for all of our instruments, it's best to do this with the bow. The bow is the most precise way to do it. If we try to do it with plucking, just the microphones on your phone or whatever app you're using might not pick it up as well. It'll pick it up easier if you use your bow. Let's start with bass first because bass is a little bit easier. Basses have mechanized pegs. So you're just going to turn your mechanized peg until your tuner says you're in tune. Let's talk a little bit about how we know if our tuner says we're in tune. I don't really have a strong preference which tuning app you use, as long as you find one that picks you up well and that is working for you. With our different tuning apps, some of them, like the one I showed you in class, are going to be up and down. Up means it's sharp, down means it's flat. Some of them, like this one, are going to be side to side. Left means that it's flat, right means that it's sharp. Most of them, there's some sort of middle that it wants you to be in tune. So, let me see if I can juggle all of this. When I play, I want to see what it says my string is. On my app, I see that it was to the right when I was playing. So it's too sharp. I need to make it lower. If I try my D, it's to the left. It's too flat, so I need to make it higher. So for bass, you just turn your pegs until it matches. Make sure you know if it's going up or down. And it's pretty straightforward. For the rest of us, there's a couple different steps we could do. The first one we want to try is we want to try using our fine tuners down here. So for bass, the rest of the video isn't relevant to you. But for the rest of us, violins, viols, and cellos, we should all have fine tuners on your instrument. One way to think about which way to turn it, there's a couple different ways. One, I can think righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. So if I am facing my instrument, I want to turn it to the right. Let me put my bow somewhere else. I want to turn it to the right to make it go up, and I want to turn it to the left to make it loose, to make it go flat. So normally for cellos, unless you have really long arms, just alternate between bowing and turning your fine tuner. For violins and violas, it's most efficient if we can bring our left hand underneath. So the other way to think about it for all of our instruments, both violin, viola, and cello, if violins and violas have our hand underneath and cellos are using our bow hand, then we will turn our thumb the direction we want it to go. So I will, if I'm using the correct hand, I will turn my thumb towards my higher string to make it go higher, or I'll turn my thumb towards my lower string to make it go lower. Now, just because I have to juggle a lot of things, I'm not going to tune it with the correct hand, but I'm going to show you what it looks like to try to adjust it. So if I'm too sharp right now, I'm going to take my fine tuner, and since it's too high, I want to make it lower, so I'm going to turn it to the left. And I would keep doing that until eventually the line is in the green area. Now, sometimes you might run into a time when the fine tuner just isn't working. Either it's all the way in and it needs to go more and you can't turn it anymore, or you take your instrument out and the string is floppy, and no matter how much you try to tune that fine tuner, it's not going to make it work. The other way that we can tune for violin, viola, and cello is with our pegs. Now, tuning with pegs is the most easy way to break a string. So it's important that we tune it really, really small amounts when we tune with the peg. For the most part, when we tune with the pegs, it's easier to just start out pizzicato. As you get older and you get higher quality instruments, then you might be able to tune with the pegs while you play. But for now, just worry about doing it in your lap. So if my string starts out really loose, I want to start by just turning it up little by little until it has some tension. You can see I don't have to tune the peg very much to change the pitch a lot. That already changed it a lot. So unlike the fine tuner you can turn a while to make it correct. The pegs change the pitch very quickly. If you go too high too quickly, or just too high in general, that's when we snap strings. So when you are tuning with pegs, make sure you turn it little amounts by a time. Now, you can either stop and check your bow and see when the tuner says it's on the right note, or you can set your tuner to a drone. Different tuners will do this different ways. Also, if you have a piano or a piano app, you could do that as well. So, since my D string is out of tune, I'm going to listen to the D. And I'm going to try to stop plucking when I start getting close to that D. You see, I don't have to turn it very much. If I listen to my D, that's a lot closer. Then from there, I can start using the fine tuners again to get it more precise. If you have any questions about tuning, please feel free to email me. I want you to practice on in-tune instruments. I don't want you to avoid practicing. If you want, have your parents watch this video too. If your instrument's really out of tune, if you feel scared about tuning with pegs, show your parents this video and encourage them to help you try to tune your instrument if it's really out of tune. The biggest thing to remember is that you don't turn the pegs fast. You want to turn them small amounts at a time. If you break a string, it's not the end of the world. Strings do cost money. It's better to not break strings, but just go to the store, pick up another string, ask the store to show you how to put it on. If the store won't, email me and I can post a video about how to put strings on our instruments. Good luck with tuning.